Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Sharp Sports Media. And the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football, they lose by a final score of 14-9. And I wanted to wait another day after the game. Usually I would post this on Monday, but I wanted to wait another game to see how I kind of felt about this game because there's just so many mixed emotions that I wanted to see how I felt kind of after the game settled, after I kind of calmed down, because it took me a while to go to sleep last night, and I was still riled up almost all yesterday. It just sat in my stomach wrong. So I wanted to wait and have a calm head and let reason kind of take over this Giants loss. A lot closer. They battled hard. We'll get into the coaching. We'll get into the offense. We'll get into the defense. We're going to start, though, with the positives. That's the defense. The defense played its balls off. Played its balls off. Best game of the year from the defense by far. Bob Okereke. Bobby Okereke continues to get better and better as the season goes on. From Indianapolis Colts free agent signing, started off slow this season, didn't have the greatest game against the Cowboys. The second game against the Cardinals started to get better in the second half, and he's taken off from there, really. Had his best game as a Giant, had the best game for a Giants linebacker in years. Also, Micah McFadden had a great day as well. They were kind of great in tandem together. Okereke with a forced fumble and a tipped pass for an interception. And you know who recovered the fumble and got the pick? Micah McFadden, who, by the way, I'm not going to toot my own horn, I said could be a solid NFL player who can be, I never said he's going to be a Pro Bowler or something crazy, but I said he could be a solid starter. Just watching him out of Indiana, just seeing what he could do rushing the quarterback and his instincts, as long as he got better in coverage, I thought can really be a starter. And he's definitely done that. And matching him with Okereke, they both seem to be on the same page. They both are playing the game the same way and getting better and better each week. And that is huge for the Giants to have linebackers that can actually play a good game of football from the linebacker position. That's the biggest takeaway from the defensive side. But also, Deonte Banks continues to look like a number one corner. Did very well when he was lined up against Stephon Diggs, was able to shadow him. This is a guy that is going to be a number, you hope could be your number one corner for 10 years. 10 years. Adoree Jackson got banged up a bit but came back in. Again, he's not looked great this year, especially from the side. He's looked better from the outside, but still not the Adoree Jackson you're hoping for. You're probably going to move on from him after this year and go get like a veteran who you can plug in for maybe a year, like a 2-year deal, who could just be a solid second corner. Um, Up front, Dexter Lawrence continues to be Dexter Lawrence. He's the best, probably nose tackle in the league by a significant margin. He just dominates up front. Kayvon Thibodeau, I thought, had a much better game. Was getting to the quarterback pretty consistently. Josh Allen did slip a bunch of what could be sacks or hurries or pressures. But Josh Allen is one of those few guys who is probably the toughest, maybe besides Lamar Jackson, to bring down at the quarterback position. Even harder than somebody like Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes, he'll move, so you don't really get there. You get to Josh Allen, and you still can't bring him down. He had the one where he had him in his grasp, where you got to make that tackle. But I understand who the quarterback is in Josh Allen, so you got to work on finishing those plays. But the fact that it's getting more consistent that he's getting pressure, which has been the problem, he'd get maybe one or two pressures, with one of them being a sack, but then he was kind of quiet the rest of the game. He's starting to be more effective throughout the entirety of the game, playing a full 60 minutes of football rather than just spurts here and there, which is very big from Kayvon Thibodeau. Um, and overall, this defense it was fantastic. Holding the Buffalo Bills to 14 points is all you can ask for from this defense. I don't know what to say. Offense wise, Tyrod Taylor, it's frustrating because he went 24 of 36 for 200 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, got sacked 3 times, and I didn't think he played okay. For a backup quarterback, he played okay. I thought the one pass to Hyatt was his best play, even though it didn't count. Rolling out, keeping his eyes downfield, and throwing the ball. That's something that Daniel Jones needs to do. That's the one thing I think that Daniel Jones needs to, when he's outside the pocket, is the biggest thing he needs to do right now. Besides like being able to see a set, I think he needs to read the defense more, Daniel Jones, and then when he gets out of the pocket, keep his eyes downfield. Because when Daniel Jones is outside the pocket, he's only looking to run, which is okay. You can run, but you got to keep your eyes downfield if somebody comes open, like a Jalen Hyatt. And I was also happy that they used Jalen Hyatt, who's I think used for more than 60% of the snaps, which is huge. He's got to be. I think he's your wide receiver number 2. Wandale, Hyatt, and Slayton should be your top 3. I think Shepard and Hodgins can work in there. I don't want to see any more Paris Campbell. I was happy he didn't play a snap, but back on Tyrod Taylor, he did what a backup quarterback's job was supposed to be, I guess. Most of the game, again, got a decent had a decent game. Made some throws when he needed to. Didn't do anything crazy. I said besides the Jalen Hyatt throw, I thought that was awesome. Wasn't forced to put the game on his back. The problem is when you needed Tyrod Taylor to come up in the biggest moments, he failed you. That's what makes it so frustrating. The first half blunder is ridiculous. It's one of the worst blunders I think I've ever seen from any football team. Ever. College or professional. It was terrible. And I put about 20% of the blame, 20 to 15 to 20% of the blame on the coaching. Because as a veteran quarterback with the amount of experience that Tyrod Taylor has, you have to know. You have to know you can't run that ball. And Daboll said he spoke to him about it, and it's just so you have to know. And I understand people's like, why would you have the option on there? Well, I agree you probably could. I don't know if you could take the option off certain plays. Maybe they wanted to run this play, and this play just happens to have an option, but you don't want the option. You want this specific play. So I don't know what to say. If you could have done that, then yes, I would have a little bit maybe more blame, up to 30% on the coaching. But regardless, you are a professional quarterback who's been in the league for years. You have to know game management situations. And the fact that he changes the play to a run, it's ridiculous. It cost the Giants the game. Because regardless, I think the game it's not like other situations where in the middle of the second quarter, something happens, because then the game completely changes, or the middle of the third, or the middle of the fourth. This was right before halftime. You go in 9-0, they still get the ball. So I feel like it would have been played the exact same way. And then all the Giants had to do was kick a field goal instead of what they did, which was ridiculous. It's just... So that was horrible. And then the throw at the end wasn't great to Darren Waller. But it wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't a great throw. But the more blame I have on the coaches is in the last play of the game versus the last play of the first half. Was it an awful play that somebody were saying? Now, getting the ball one-on-one with Darren Waller, who could hype catch the ball to your best player that's wide out, that's not Saquon Barkley, because you have him in the backfield. And for anybody who's saying to run the ball, did you watch the end of the first half? And if you look at the play, the amount of penetration that came in, I don't agree with the run. I would have done the tush push. That's different than a run, a handoff. I would have had Saquon Barkley in the Wildcat come in on a motion and then push him into the end zone. That's what my play. But what they did, I don't think it was that bad of a play call. It was clear and obvious to me that it was pass interference. I mean, the dude was holding on to his jersey Waller's jersey for dear life, like he was about to fall off a cliff. So that has to be called. I understand that there was a PI called the exact play before to give them the Giants an untimed down. So calling back-to-back PIs is tough, but you have to call, no matter what the situation is, you call the game correctly. Because if they say, well, let him play, well, it's a it's a pass interference. If you don't want me to blow the whistle or throw a flag, don't hold them. It shouldn't matter when, what time of the game it is. You should call it all the same, regardless. So that definitely sucks. I do think the Giants got ripped off, but ultimately, it's the end of the first half that kills you right there. Again, I don't put too much blame on Dable. I put a little more on Kafka than Dable, but mostly on Tyrod Taylor. But overall, yeah, I thought Saquon Barkley took a little while to get going, but got going towards the end, and I think he'll continue to get better and better. Wide receiver wise, Wan'Dale Robinson continues to show he should be the number one wide receiver on this team. I thought Slayton is a solid down the field option and still should get a lot of reps, but Jalen Hyatt, I want to see more Jalen Hyatt. That was good. But yeah, it's just a real tough loss. Now you got Washington. Hopefully Daniel Jones plays. I think if he plays, you definitely, I believe the Giants could win that game. So it's weird, this game, because you battled, the defense played so well. Okereke played the linebacker the way no Giant has played in years, and you still lose. So it's a frustrating day overall as a Giants fan. It was a frustrating game the way it ended, but there are some positives to take over into the next day. And for anybody saying to fire Brian Daboll, I completely disagree with you. I still have a ton of faith in this coach, and I know some people are mad that he kind of gave a little bit of the blame at the end to Tyrod Taylor at the final call. And I have no problem with that. There's he didn't completely leave him out to dry. He tried to shelter him a bit, but he said, like, listen, this is kind of, he changed the play. And I think it's important to hold players accountable while not absolutely just throwing them under the bus to the media. It's important to me. I think it's a good thing. Hold players accountable. Make sure they know, hey, this is unacceptable. And the media knows it's unacceptable. The public knows. Just so you can get better at it. And don't just tell them they did bad, but coach them. I think Brian Daboll does a great job of coaching. So he'll let you know and then show you how to improve. So hopefully that's done by Daboll. Hopefully the Giants are able to bounce back. Thank you guys so much for watching. You let me know what you thought on the Giants game in the comments or on my Twitter. Again, thank you so much for watching the Sharp Show. I'll see you on the other side.